Start with the bold predictions, though, and we'll start with you, BMAC. We do this every single week. What do you got for us this week?
Well, first and foremost, Mike, tell us who you love without telling us who you love. I'm seeing the shirt right now, so you already.
It's a Thursday night football. We'll get to this one.
Oh, you doubled up. You just didn't lay it up with one Packer apparel. You doubled up. Okay, rather nice, rather nice. But in terms of my bold prediction, guys, I'm going down to where you guys are located, South Florida, right? Something that we have yet to see the entire season. My bold prediction for this week: the New York Jets will score at least 30 points en route to beating the Miami Dolphins. Now, that might not seem like a bold prediction, but if you've been watching the New York Jets, you understand why this is so bold. Number one, they have yet to score 30 points. Number two, they have yet to show 4 quarters of competitive play over the last few weeks, and they've been in a very, very difficult losing slump. So it seems like every time they have a bright spot potentially to win a ball game, they find a way to lose. And they've been horrible in the last 4 road games, as you see there. So why would I believe they can do something they haven't done in the last 4 recent road games, which is score enough points, 30 points, and then cover the spread easily and win a ball game? Well, that's why it's a bold prediction, because we have yet to see it, and I don't know if it actually will happen, but I got to be bold. So I'm going all the way on the limb and saying the New York Jets somehow, some way will score a minimum 30 points and beat the Miami Dolphins. I'm sorry, Miami Dolphin fans, but this is a bold prediction.
Wow, our Pushing the Pile producer, Harry, is not going to love that. Huge Dolphins fan, and obviously he would think that this week against the Jets would just be the easiest one that they could get done for the Dolphins. And 30 points, that would mean 300 yards maybe for Aaron Rodgers. Mike, I'm going to go in a different direction here. I'm going to go new head coach for the Chicago Bears will take his team west to Santa Clara, and they will punch that Niners team right in the mouth. I'm looking for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears to have newfound juice under Thomas Brown, the brand new head coach. And I think we get a look at what could potentially be the new head coach for the future for the Chicago Bears. I think people will have his name climb the charts immediately after they see the way that this football team will come out. The big complaint about this group, the offense never gets started until the second half. I want to see this offense come out hot. I think Thomas Brown is the guy to inject that juice into this locker room and have them ready to roll. Kyle Shanahan's going to be scratching his head saying, this freaking guy, Thomas Brown's pretty good. And Caleb Williams, man, oh man.
Now, are you predicting here, Kyle, or are you trying to manifest as a former Bear, obviously, trying to put this into existence that Thomas Brown's going to be the answer there? Because, well, we've thought before that there was an answer coming down the pike for this Bears team, but when you lose 6 straight, they haven't found the answer just yet. So we'll see.
How did they lose, Mike? How did they lose? How did they lose? Coaching ineptitude, situational awareness, or lack thereof. I think Thomas Brown, his main priority is going to be situational awareness. Let the guys play. He said, I'm not looking for perfect. I'm just looking for excellent. And I expect to see excellence from the Chicago Bears team.
And to Kyle's point, the last team that had an in-season firing most recently was the New Orleans Saints. And remember that very same week, they came out and beat Atlanta. So, usually when there's an in-season firing, that kind of wakes up the entire building. So there could be some truth to that, Kyle.
It could get less cohesive than it was the Bears over the last 6 weeks. So this has to help in some way, shape, or form. I do think you'll see the best of the Bears. And if Trent Williams and Nick Bosa aren't playing, which they haven't practiced yet this week, if they ain't playing, yeah, they ain't the 49ers anymore. And I do think the Bears could very well do that. All right, let's get to mine. And BMAC's not going to like it, but it doesn't necessarily even mean they're going to win this game. It's saying Jameis has got to go for 400 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers after going for 497 a week ago. I think he follows it up with a big week. Pittsburgh, great defense, yes, but they're not a great pass defense. 220 yards per game. That's 19th in the NFL in terms of passing yards per game. Now, that's going to come with 2 or 3 picks is the caveat here. And I'm not predicting that they're going to win this football game. But I just know that Jameis Winston, when he has to drop back and sling it, this guy can put up numbers. He is the antidote, exactly what this Browns offense needed. Now, again, this isn't an elite football team. This isn't who we thought they were. Even with Jameis Winston at the helm, they're still very flawed in a number of ways. But Jameis is the kind of guy who can survive behind the onslaught that the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line brings. And yeah, I think he goes for 400 against them.
I love that, Mike. I love that so much. And people get so lost and caught up and infatuated with the fact that he's the most entertaining guy every Sunday, whether it's pregame speeches, on the desk with Amazon. But you forget that this guy is as productive as you're saying. He is a dude that no matter if the sky is falling around him, he will continue to swing his sword. It's a shame what has happened with this Cleveland Browns team. They put him right behind the eight ball, keeping Deshaun Watson in there. Obviously, the injury brought Jameis in, but this team has been so much fun to watch since then.
Do we think Jameis has done enough to earn a starting job next season?
Hey, I think regardless of what he does, he won't be the starter. It's going to be Deshaun Watson if Deshaun is healthy, because that's all the money. That's where the money is going. So the business side of things will determine who starts. Now, if Deshaun is not healthy enough, no question. But, let's keep it real. When you give the type of money they gave Deshaun Watson, they didn't pay you that to have you sitting on the sideline, even if you're not performing up to the standard. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, they are still tied to this Deshaun Watson contract until 2026. So
yep, 2 years.
So it's safe to say whatever Jameis will do leading up to next season, it won't be enough because the money will always trump it.
Yeah, they're literally handcuffed. I mean, do I think he has earned the right to have a starting position for the Cleveland Browns? No doubt. And I'm sure if you go in that locker room and ask the guys, you talk to the offensive line, you talk to the guys on the defense, B-Mac, you say, you bring our football team juice. We think you should be the starter. Now, I don't know if they're saying that. You talked about the dollar amount owed to Deshaun Watson. It's not just the dollar amount, it's the verbiage in the contract. Regardless, he's going to get it. So we're going to have to see you play some football, Deshaun Watson.
I think the one spot that I sneakily love for Jameis Winston, if he were to hit free agency, and obviously we're kind of in agreement that the Browns' hands are tied. They can't really give him, $20 million contract over the next few years, is the New York Jets. Because I don't think the Jets are going to be drafting. If they put up 30 here on the Dolphins, as BMAX said, they're not going to be drafting in a position to get their quarterback of the future. And if you give him two weapons, if you give him Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, you can put points on the scoreboard. Now, it's going to be, again, you're always going to have to live with the picks with him. But Aaron Rodgers, we said off top, he hasn't had a 300-yard game since 2021, since week 14 of 2021. It's been 3 years. If you put Jameis Winston in that offense, he'll have 300-yard games. He'll move the football. He's done that pretty much every single stop along the way. It's just a position that they're obviously going to be beggars. They're going to be getting whatever they can. They're not going to be able to go out and get exactly what they want. If that's the case, I think a Jameis Winston 2-year deal is something that they could win football games still there in New York, if that's the case.
They could win games and they won't lose because of the market. You think about Jameis Winston, he's cut out for a big market. And like I said, even on the field when things go wrong, he continues to swing his sword. Doesn't matter what you're saying about him in the media. He's going to continue to be unapologetically himself. That would be a perfect fit for New York.
And also, too, every stop he's been, teammates have said nothing but great things about him. So he can galvanize a locker room, and the guys will play for him. And that's a very, very important trait to have when you play the quarterback position, because that's a leadership position. You have to be a leader, regardless if you want to or if you do not. So for Jameis, I think every stop he goes, he brings a different vibe into the locker room, provides different energy. And guess what? People, they listen to him. And that's why we're starting to see when he became the starter, for the Cleveland Browns, remember, the same roster, same personnel, but different outcomes because the guys really rock with him. They really love him being their quarterback.
We shall see how Jameis fares this weekend and where his future holds after the year.